robot. Let's break down this base code into segments we already know, see if we can make more sense out of this code. Starting at the end, we have a drive block that is set to stop, as the power is set to 0. Before that, inside this yellow block we know nothing about yet, there is another drive block configured to drive the robot forward. So we have a drive forward block and we have a stop block. In the simulation, and I run it again, we can see that the robot drives forward. We can see that it stops as soon as the touch sensor presses the fence. We can see in the HUD how the value changes and stops the robot as well, and the robot stops as well. This code that we have can be read as pseudocode. Repeat while the touch sensor is pressed false, meaning it's not true. Drive forward. By looking at the simulation, we can see that the robot goes forward while the touch sensor is released. Once the touch sensor is pressed, that part of the program stops, and the next command to stop the robot is executed. Any questions? Let me repeat what we have in this code to make sure we are all on the same page. We have this block that we have not yet been familiar with, but we can see that what this instructs the robot to do is to drive forward until the touch sensor is pressed, meaning it returns a value of true. So while it is not true, it is false. It will go forward, and once it is true, it will move on to the next block and stop the robot. The yellow block that starts with repeat while, which we just saw, is the main command used in our program. Let me explain it. In programming, repeat while is called a loop. A loop instructs a program to do something while or until a condition is met, allowing repetition of the same code over and over again without repeating the actual commands. In Coding Robots course, we investigate the code behind a stoplight to help students understand the concept of loops. The program of a stoplight does not consist of infinite commands turning the lights on and off over and over again. The program for a stoplight is very basic, turning each light at its turn, and then it sits in a loop. The loop will create that same functionality, repeat the same sequence to repeat over and over again. So let's go back to our mission. As you can see, the while block has other blocks connected to it. Inside, there is the drive forward block. Next to it, there is something that we call in programming a condition. There is a compare block. We can see the, just a second. We can see the equal sign here, which makes this a compare block that allows us to compare two values. And we compare it between the get touch is pressed block and a false value. So this creates what we call in programming a condition. This condition is required by any while loop to tell it whether to repeat the block inside or move on. Let's put it into a rule. It will make more sense that way. So what we have in our code is a repeat while loop with a condition and a set of instructions. What is a condition? The condition determines whether the set of instructions will be executed or not. Our set of instructions was just to drive forward. The condition under which the robot will drive forward is for the touch sensor to be false, meaning released. Let's go back to our mission. What do you think will happen if I change the condition here from false to true?